Welcome home, brave heroes and Kai lords alike. I'm Ash, this is SHIPWRECKED, and it's time to get on with our adventure in Lone Wolf, Fire on the Water. This is the Kai series, book 2. We're picking up right where we left off last time with our stat sheet right here in front of us, and we are just going to jump right back into the book. We have a bit of a makeshift bookmark with our old stat sheet. We have a saved game on 240. I believe we met with an untimely end by receiving a dart filled with poison when we tried to search the captain's cabin. A few things about this playthrough. Instead of consulting the random number table, we are rolling 1d10. We are taking advantage of a concept known in the video game world as save scumming. To save my game, I will write down the passage. I will start from this passage should I die during my travels. I have not given myself any sort of limit on how many saves I can have, but I am keeping track of how many deaths I suffer. Looks like I did forget to mark down a skull for dying in that last video. This is the second part in this series, so if you don't want any spoilers, go watch the first Fire on the Water, and if you haven't seen any of Fire on the Water, go watch Flight from the Dark. Without further ado, passage 240. After 3 uneventful days at sea, and I have read this passage before, but I'll go ahead and read it again. You find shipboard life rather dull and dreary. If you have the Kai discipline of healing, any endurance points that you may have lost on your adventure so far are restored. This will bring your endurance points back to your initial level. We have an initial level of 30 because we have a max of 26, and we have an additional 4 thanks to our chainmail waistcoat. On the afternoon of the 4th day, you are talking with an injured sailor up on the main deck when you smell smoke seeping out from the ship's hold. If you wish to enter the hold and investigate, turn to 29. We will not do that. The last time we did, we opened up the hold, and a rush of waves came out and burned us. If you decide to shout fire and raise the alarm, turn to 236. I think it's safe to do that. Let us warn everybody now. Time is of the essence. The ship is thrown into a sudden frenzy of activity as sailors grab buckets and blankets with which to fight the fire. Flames are roaring through the hatch cover, and it takes over an hour to contain the fierce blaze. The damage to the ship is extensive. The main store of food and fresh water has been destroyed, and the midsection of the ship has been badly weakened. The captain appears from out of the smoking hold and approaches you, his face black with soot. He is carrying something in a bundle tucked under his arm. "We must talk in private," he says quietly. Without replying, you turn and follow him to his cabin. 222. After taking care to close his cabin door, the captain opens the mysterious bundle and tips the contents onto his chart table. A large charred earthenware jug and several blackened rags drop in a heap. They give off a strange, oily smell. We did also read this passage last time if you're feeling a bit of deja vu, but we got there a slightly different route, and it is from here that we met our end. "This was no accidental fire," he says solemnly. "This was an act of sabotage. The forward hold is a food store, yet I find this oil jug and these soaked rags up on the floor. Someone on this ship is prepared to endanger his own life to stop us reaching Duranor." You both stare at the burnt rags as if they hold the answer to your questions. Suddenly, a cry from up on deck breaks the silence. "Ship ahoy! Ship off the port bow!" Grabbing his sword and telescope, the captain disappears through the cabin door and up the ladder to the deck above. If you wish to follow him, turn to 175. I trust, well, even if I don't completely trust the captain, for whatever reason, there's no reason to search his cabin, so 175 it is. We have an illustration on the opposing page that has nothing to do with our passage. "It seems our bird has flown the coop," says the captain, pointing to a longboat moving swiftly towards another ship on the horizon. "She flies no flag, and her hull is a strange shape. I've never seen before the like." You watch as the longboat reaches the mysterious ship. Then, as if by magic, a thick sea fog appears from nowhere and engulfs the vessel. Moments later, both the ship and the fog have disappeared. Pick a number from the random number table. We're going to go ahead and save at this point, so we're saving at 175, and we are picking our random number. By the way, the 0 on this die is going to mean 0, not 10 in this context. A 7, a respectable number. Let us go to 209. There were only 2 options, 4 and under and 5 and over. 209. The crew starts to whisper. You hear the words ghost ship and cursed voyage, but the muttering stops when the captain's voice booms out an order for all hands on deck. Only the creaking of the timbers can be heard as Captain Kelman climbs to the rear deck to address the crew. "Men, we're 3 days' sail from Port Bax. The fire has robbed us of our provisions and our fresh water has been fouled. We shall have to steer a new course for Ragadorn. where we shall make good our repairs and replenish our stores. That is all." The crew seemed pleased by the captain's announcement and set about their duties with renewed vigor. Then the captain returns to you. "We're about 8 hours away from Ragadorn. My orders are to see you safely to Port Bax and pass you into the care of the Somnending Consul, Lord Lieutenant Rygor. But time is not our ally, and I fear the repairs may take a week or more to complete. When we drop anchor, you will have to find your own route to Duranor, either by sea with us or alone by the coast road." As you return to your cabin, the king's words haunt your thoughts. 40 days, Lone Wolf. We only have the strength to stand against them for 40 days. You do not have long to complete your dangerous mission. To continue, turn to 197. 197 is here. As dawn breaks, a fierce storm rises, and you are woken by the violent rocking of the ship. The floor of your cabin is awash, and the shouts of the crew can hardly be heard above the terrible howling of the wind. You quickly dress, gather up your equipment, and make your way up on deck. You are soon joined by the captain, who takes hold of your arm and orders you return to your cabin. As you start to go down the ladder, there is a thunderous crack. High above, part of the ship's mast is torn clean away. You look up to see the shattered pole falling towards your face like a gigantic spear. All right, we pick a number from the random number table, but if I possess hunting, I can add 1. I think it's pretty obvious that we want to roll a high number. We won't be rolling 0 to turn to page 247. I have a feeling that we're going to be immediately killed if we roll a 0, but if we didn't have the hunting skill, which, by the way, I do have the hunting skill. Oh, and look at that. We would have rolled a 0. It went right off the edge of the book. Just for pleasantries and giggles, let us go to 247 and see what that would have resulted in. Your life and your mission come to a tragic end here on the deck of the Green Scepter. Crushed by that. Okay. Well, the result is 1 to 4, so I suppose we'll go to 141. We'll remember that I saved before I rolled the dice. Hate that, by the way. As the mast smashes into the deck, a splintered beam grazes the back of your head and you are knocked overboard. Desperate for air, you fight your way to the surface and cling to a floating hatch cover. You are dizzy from the blow to your head and nauseous after having swallowed a mouthful of seawater. Lose 2 endurance points. That's fine. I honestly don't mind. You drag yourself onto this makeshift raft and cling to it with all the strength you can muster. If you are wearing a chainmail waistcoat, you must discard it now. No! I've played this book before and I lost my chainmail waistcoat the last time. This die rolled me dirty. It's a strange way to phrase that. Alright, we don't have the chainmail waistcoat anymore. I'm going to put an X near it, just in case I have to return back to my save point, so that I remember that I do have it if I have to go a different route after dying on this one. Good grief. So that being the case, I'm actually going to bring my total EP down by 4, and that's going to bring us down to 24. We don't have like a rules as written that explains how to do that, but I know the chainmail waistcoat was giving me 4 more EP, so that's how I'm going to treat that. As the heaving swell buffets you relentlessly, gradually you slip away into unconsciousness. When you revive, many hours later, the storm has passed and the water surrounding you are calm once more. By the position of the sun in the sky, you judge it to be late in the afternoon. In the distance, you can see a small fishing boat, and beyond it, you can see land on the horizon. The only remaining trace of the Green Scepter is the hatch cover, on which you now sit. If you wish to take off your cloak and use it to signal to the fishing boat, turn to 278, or you can ignore the boat and attempt to paddle towards the shoreline. I think that the fishing boat is full of baddies, and not the fun kind. But we will go to it anyway, though, because I don't know if there's a net loss if I do encounter any bad guys and have to fight them. 278. I'm pretty strong. I'm feeling confident in my abilities. Desperately, you wave your Kai cloak above your head until you are near to exhaustion. Pick a number from the random number table to see if your efforts have been rewarded. We have 2. We have 2 outcomes. 0 to 6, 7 to 9. Come on, I want the 7 to 9. Let's go. It's an 8. It's an 8. I may yet forgive this die for its shicey behavior earlier. 180. 180. I think it took pity on me. Yes, 180. You conclude that the crew must either be blind or have no intention of rescuing you. The fishing boat continues on its course out to sea, and without seeming to have noticed you, it disappears over the horizon. Pulling off a loose plank from the end of the hatch cover, you use it as a makeshift oar and set about paddling towards the distant shoreline. Great. So that was actually a bad roll, despite it being higher. I believe that's going to happen on and off. Just because you roll high doesn't mean you roll good. To continue, turned to 337. It's good though. It keeps things interesting, keeps things unpredictable. 337 is here. When you are only 50 yards offshore, you slip into the waves and swim towards the land. When finally you reach the beach, you sink your fingers deep into the wet sand and slowly claw your way up the beach to the shelter of some dunes. We're missing a period here. We're missing punctuation. You are now exhausted and feeling very hungry. The only possessions that you have managed to save are your gold crowns, your backpack, and any special items that you did not discard in the storm. Any weapons that you possessed before the storm has been lost. Although you keep your backpack, you lose everything it contained in addition to your weapons and the chainmail waistcoat if you possessed it. Make the necessary adjustments to your action chart. Good grief. Okay, so for special items, I have the Seal of Hammerdall. I have my shield, which I shall keep. The waistcoat is gone. I have an X next to it. I haven't saved yet to finalize that. But as far as backpack goes, it looks like, yeah, I'm going to lose my Potion of Lom, my scroll, my meal, Vorpack gem, my potion, and my other meal. So we're going to put an X next to the backpack to denote that I have nothing in it. We're going to put an X next to my weapons to denote that I have no weapons. This book is heartbreaking. I'm sure there's going to be a future spot in a future book that I will reach that is even worse than that. So if you're aware of such a thing, it's okay to kind of let me know that rough roads are ahead, but don't spoil anything for me, please. If you are a Kai master. A few hundred yards from the dunes, you notice clumps of small trees with twisted, gnarly trunks. They are laden with purple fruits. If you have the Kai discipline of hunting, turn to 139. If you decide to pick and eat this fruit, turn to 228. If you choose to avoid the twisted trees and not eat their fruits, you lose 3 endurance points. Well, I have the Kai discipline of hunting, so we're going to go to 139. 139. 139. 130. Looks like we're going to probably have the opportunity to shop for stuff again a little later. The training that you received in the art of hunting has taught you to recognize most of the poisonous and non-poisonous fruits that grow in northern Magnemund. These purple fruits are larnuma, a sweet and nutritious food. You quickly eat your fill and then store enough of them in your backpack for 2 meals. Beyond the larnuma trees, you notice a wide coast road that disappears off to the east and to the west. If you wish to, I guess I'm going to have to adjust my stuff now because I do have enough for 2 meals. Losing my 2 potions, losing my Vorpack gem, and my scroll. I'm honestly not upset about anything in here except for the Vorpack gem, which I got, I think, in the first book, but I did not know what its use was. Might have been something I had to use in the crypt that I came across in the graveyard section of the book, but I kept it because I was told that sometimes your items are useless, but sometimes they have a use, and sometimes that use is not in the current adventure, which is so crazy to me. But it's so cool that they would be like, if you hang on to this long enough, you might see, you might see a benefit to it. Okay. I got to keep my crowns. That's nice. I got to keep my special items, so I still have my shield. Got my 2 meals, and at this point in time, my EP is probably back up to 26 because of the passages that I have gone through without combat due to my Kai discipline of healing. Where was I? Here we go. If you wish to follow the road and head east, turn to 27. If you decide to follow the road towards the west, turn to 114. We are going to save our game here. We'll put a pipe, and we are at 139. We're going to head east because it's east to Duranor from the coast. That's where we were headed anyway. We're going to 27. I can't help but feel like that's a trap. Like, I'm going to be punished for that. You walk for over 3 hours along the lonely coast road before night begins to fall. You are very tired and you decide to get some sleep and continue at dawn. You remember the tales told by your Kai masters of the wildlands between Summerland and Duranor, where packs of wild dogs roam the wastelands at night. With these stories in mind, you decide to spend the night in the safety of a large leafy tree by the side of the road. Your rest is very refreshing. Restore 2 endurance points, if any have been lost on your adventure. You may continue your journey by turning to 312. 312 we go. Whoops. We passed it. Here we are. Although you awaken to a cold and rain-swept dawn, the branches of the tree and your Kai cloak have kept you warm and dry during the night. Looking along the coast road in the distance, you can see a wagon trundling towards you. If you wish to descend from the tree and flag down the approaching wagon, turn to 117. If you decide to attempt to jump onto its roof as it passes beneath your branch, turn to 89. I will flag them down, 117. Worst case scenario, they're enemies, and I'll only get the jump on them, but 117, we go. It is a large passenger wagon, similar to those used by highway travelers of Summerland. The driver pulls the horses to a halt and stares at you from under the wide brim of his hat. He just stares. You ask where he is destined for. We have an illustration on the opposite page. Look at this guy. Like a little mouse squire of some kind. We're bound for Ragadorn. Due there at noon today. A seat inside will cost you 3 gold crowns. You can ride atop the roof for only 1. If you wish to ride inside, pay the driver 3 gold crowns and turn to 37. I think I'll do that. I'm going to pay him 3 gold crowns and I will turn to 37. So in my pouch, I now have, let's say, -3. I'm not going to replace that just in case I have to pick up from my saved game. That's how we're going to play this, I think, going forward. Because I think at one point in the past, I've picked up from a saved game and then looked at my character sheet and I'm like, what did I have though? What did I lose? Can't have that. Right. But the game's not designed to be played that way necessarily. When you reach a passage and it's like your life and your journey end here, that's the end. I'm not really sure what you would do about that afterwards. Would you replay the book? Would you start all the way over from the first Lone Wolf and just roll up a new character? Iron Man mode? All right. So we've paid our 3 gold crowns. So we're going to turn to 37. And have quite a bit of gold crowns, just about have the maximum. Just about. Here we go. Inside the coach, it is pleasantly warm and dry. And this is the illustration that does pertain to our adventure. We have fellow travelers. A lord and lady. Shaking the rain from your Kai cloak, you notice 3 other passengers on board, 2 women, and a man who was snoring loudly. Well, I don't see another woman. She must be sitting next to me. One of the women looks up at you and smiles. We should reach Ragadorn in 6 hours, she says, placing her basket on the floor so you can sit beside her. You learn that she lives in Ragadorn, and she proceeds to tell you a little about the port. Since Killian the Overlord died 3 years ago, Ragadorn has been ruled by Lachlan, his evil son. He and his mercenaries are nothing but a bunch of ruthless pirates. They bleed the people dry with their heavy taxes, and if anyone complains, they are never seen again. It's a sorry state of affairs. If you take my advice, young traveler, you'll spend no more time in Ragadorn than you have to. During the journey, as hunting cannot be used to find food in the wildlands even if the coach stops, you must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Well, we can do that. We can absolutely eat one of our meals. It doesn't bother me at all. In the distance, you hear the toll of a bell. You look out of the coach window and see the city wall of Ragadorn in the middle distance. The coach passes through the city's west gate and slows to a halt. As you climb down from the coach, you are greeted by the awful smell of this dingy seaport. A rusty iron sign nailed to the wall of a nearby hovel says, "Welcome to Ragadorn." The woman tells you that you can board a coach to Port Bax at the coach station, which is located near the city's east gate. You thank her for her helpful advice and then take stock of your surroundings. You are standing in a cobblestone square, from which there are 3 exits. If you wish to leave the square by walking north into Westgate Lane, turn to 122. If you choose to head along West Bank Walk, turn to 323. And if you decide to walk into Axe Lane, turn to 257. I think we will save here because we've safely made it to Ragadorn, and I would like to consult the map at this point. We are so far away from Durinor. We basically are just right next to Home Guard. So here's Ragadorn, and then we need to get on a ship to get to Port Bax as soon as we can. And from there, we should be able to make it to Hammerdall after passing through Tarnera. This adventure has really only just begun. I think I would like to walk east into Axe Lane. That sounds like a place where I could buy some weapons. So we'll turn to 257 and go into Axe Lane. This rubbish-strewn cobbled street runs between 2 rows of ramshackle, rot-infested houses and shops. The few inhabitants of Ragadorn that you see appear to be a cheerless lot, their faces haggard and drawn. They shuffle through the gloom, hunched against the pouring rain, their eyes fixed on the slimy cobblestones at their feet. Then, you reach a junction where Axe Lane curves towards the north and another street heads off towards the east. If you wish to continue north and pass from Axe Lane into Black Knight Street, turn to 335. If you decide to go east, you can enter Sage Street by turning to 181. Why don't we try Black Knight Street, 335. I'm wondering if it would be handy at all for me to make my own map. 335. They're being very deliberate with the directions. And yes, I knew it. I knew my instincts would lead me right. You notice a sign hanging outside a small shop. The Ragadorn Trading Post, merchandise bought and sold. I'm not going to ignore the shop, even though that's one of the options. Out of the 2, we're going to enter this shop and ask its owner how best you can reach Durinor. 161, we are going to buy stuff here. I need my weapons. I just feel so helpless without them. Or maybe that's not going to happen because the shop appears to be empty. Patiently, you bide your time by inspecting the merchandise. Nearly 5 minutes pass, but still no one has appeared. You are about to leave when you notice a map hanging inside the door. It is a detailed plan of the port of Ragadorn. The Ragadorn stables and coach station is clearly marked near the east gate of the city. This is where land transport can be found to take you to Port Bax. You memorize the map route to the east gate and leave the shop. You run back to Axe Lane and turn east onto Sage Street. At the end of this winding lane, you arrive at the Ragadorn Bridge, the only connection between the east and west sides of the city. You push your way across the crowded bridge and hurry along the rain-slick cobblestones of East Trade Lane. Turn to 186. Well, maybe we will be able to buy something after all. You are standing opposite a large building with a sign fixed to its wall. Ragadorn Stables and Coaching Station. A green-clad coachman is sitting next to a notice board that reads Port Bax, journey time 7 days. If you wish to approach the seated coachman and ask to buy a ticket for the journey to Port Bax, turn to 136. But if you have no money, turn to 238. I have probably enough money to buy that, no matter how much it costs. We're going to turn to 136. 7 days. 7 days. This is a stressful journey. I'm not going to lie. They timed this out to where you're going to feel that 40 days. If we make it through this, we're only getting back to Summerland in the nick of time, back to Homeguard. The fare to Port Bax is 20 gold crowns, says the coachman with a gruff Ragadornian accent. If you have 20 gold crowns and wish to purchase a ticket, turn to 10. I have 20 gold crowns. We will put a negative 20 next to our 34, and we will turn to 10. They don't give you a lot of opportunity to spend crowns otherwise. You pocket the ticket, record this as a special item on your action chart. Ticket to Port Bax. And the man escorts you to a coach that is waiting near the east gate of the seaport. It is empty, and you take a seat near one of its circular windows. The seat is comfortable, which is a very good thing as the journey to Port Bax will take 7 days. Stowing your equipment beneath the seat. What equipment? 1 meal and my special items? You settle back in comfort and doze off. When you awake, you are no longer alone. You have been joined by 5 other passengers, and the journey to Jurnor has already got underway. Pick a number from the random number table. We have 3 outcomes, and we have no real way to influence the die roll or to know what number is good or bad. 4. If the number you have picked is 4 to 6, turn to 195. 195 it is. You guys want to fight? You've been traveling for nearly 2 hours when the driver shouts out, "Toll bridge ahead! 1 crown apiece!" Despite the pouring rain, you put your head out of the window and you are able to make out a wooden bridge spanning a swollen river and a log cabin in the distance. The driver halts the coach at the log cabin and a strange creature appears at its doorway. It is a Zal, a smaller subspecies of Gyak, held to be relatively harmless and meek. They have been natives of the wildlands since the age of the Black Moon, when thousands of their kind migrated from the Durncrag Mountains to avoid the tyranny of Vashna, the mightiest of the Dark Lords. The Zal demands 1 gold crown from each passenger before the coach will be allowed to cross the bridge. The other passengers each place 1 crown upon a small plate and hand it to you. If you have enough gold to pay the toll, do so and continue on your journey by turning to 249. I do. It's only fair, and I suppose it's fine to pay this tiny subspecies of Gyak brethren. 249 it is. They seem like nice people enough. 249. During the course of the afternoon's journey, and our illustration does relate to this passage, we'll look at it here shortly, you chat with your fellow travelers and learn a little about their backgrounds. Sitting opposite are 2 brothers named Ganon and Dorier. They are knights in the Order of the White Mountain, warrior lords of Jurnor who have pledged allegiance to protect the country from raids by the bandits of the wildlands. They own a castle and land near Port Bax. Next to them sits Halvork, a merchant. His nose is swollen, and his face is badly bruised thanks to Lachlan, the overlord of Ragadorn. A little misunderstanding about port taxes lost him his cargo and most of his gold. Sitting by the far door is a priest called Parson. Like you, he is a Somlending who has journeyed across the wildlands by coach on his way to Port Bax. Beside you sits a young woman called Vivica. She is a mercenary adventuress who earns her gold by fighting for it and sells her sword skills to the highest bidder. She is returning to Port Bax after having collected payment for a successful mission in Ragadorn. Not wishing to reveal your true identity, you have pretended to be a simple peasant from the Homeguard Plain. The travelers seem unaware of the invasion of Somlerlund by Dark Lord Zagarna. Turn to 39. 39. At dusk, the coach stops at an inn on the coast road to Port Bax. The cost of a room for the night is 1 gold crown for coach passengers and 3 gold crowns for anyone else. As you are about to enter, the coach driver demands to see your ticket. If you have a ticket for the journey to Port Bax, turn to 346. I do have that ticket, and I will go to 346. Why? Why are you demanding that? Somebody take it? The driver nods and returns the ticket. Okay. The inn is warm but poorly furnished. You must eat a meal here, which will cost you 1 gold crown unless you have a meal in your backpack. The Kai discipline of hunting cannot be used on your journey through the wildlands. It is a barren wasteland inhabited only by creatures called Zulls, a smaller subspecies of yak held to be relatively harmless, and some rarer yet more dangerous predators. The restriction on hunting in the wildlands applies only to your ability to fulfill instructions to eat a meal automatically. You may still use hunting when prompted to do so. However, until given further notice, you must obey instructions to eat meals as if you do not have hunting. This includes the current instruction. You must lose 3 endurance points now if you cannot pay for the meal or consume one from your backpack. I'll consume my other meal from my backpack. It's fine, but I can afford the 1 gold crown for the room. So wait, does the room and board, which will cost you 1 gold crown? Oh, they're separate things. I can afford the 1 gold crown for the room also, so I will do that. So I'm going to keep my meal. I'm going to keep my meal and pay the 1 gold crown, and at this point I'll go ahead and erase the existence of the other meal off of my chart, because yeah, that's gone. So I'm going to pay 1 gold crown for the meal, 1 gold crown for the room, and turn to 280. I'll do a little bit of accounting here shortly. After we get to 280, you sleep deeply without being disturbed, and then rise at dawn feeling refreshed and alert. You gather your equipment and join the others as they are boarding the coach. For 2 days and nights, the coach trundles along the overland trade route across the wildlands. This is a particularly bleak and inhospitable region, its barren gray soil and stunted flora seemingly devoid of life. The coach makes rare stops along the way, mainly to allow the driver to catch a few hours of sleep. Early on the morning of the 9th day of your quest, there is an unfortunate accident. Pick a number from the random number table, and we have 2 outcomes. But it is here that we will save, and it is here that we will end our journey for now. With 1 meal, and I suppose since I have saved, I can go ahead and account for all of the gold crowns that I have spent. We'll have minus 20, which means we have 14. We have 13 minus 3, which means we had 10 in addition to that 14. So we have a total of 24 minus 3 more gold crowns spent on meals and such. So we should have 21 gold crowns, if my math is correct. And that, my friends, is where we shall pause. So thank you very much for joining me on this Tome Tuesday. I like this book a lot, actually, and I've noticed some very kind comments in the last episode, which was the first for this book in the series, saying that this was their favorite book. And I thought it was going to be completely on the water, and a significant portion of it is for reasons, but I think a lot of things are done here so early in this Kai series, like lulling you into this false sense of security by giving you this chainmail, only to almost assuredly have you lose it. I can't imagine that you can make it to the other side with the chainmail intact, but maybe you can, but that's okay. I'm still feeling really strong with my mind blast and my shield, and sadly no enemies to use it against yet. But that's fine. There will be plenty of time for fights, I'd wager. Right now, we're just getting the gold slowly sucked out of us by the economy of Port Bax and surrounding territories. But we will continue on to see where this adventure leads in the next episode. So until then, brave travelers, Kai Lords alike, I bid you a thank you for your kind attention and a farewell for now.